Hi, my name is Lisa. I'm from Minnesota. And first of all, I want to thank God and give Him all the glory and honor for everything that has transpired. And there are no words to describe how grateful I am to Dr. Jody and his team for what he's been able to accomplish in just the last 3 to 4 sessions. It's hard for me to put into words or articulate everything that I have gone through. I guess I'll just say my symptoms really began to manifest about 20 years ago with a lot of pain, and progressed from there to these past couple of years where I felt like I was out of control. The chronic fatigue after that many years, and probably getting even worse as I woke up every day and felt like I had to push through it. It's really difficult to live like that. Everything from, and there were little symptoms that amounted to taking me down for most of my day, where I could not socialize. I had no desire to exercise. I had no energy to go out and do just normal things like grocery shop or interact with friends. And life became a big burden. Symptoms were extreme dry eyes, not just dry eyes. I'm talking about I'd wake up in the middle of the night or in the morning and couldn't even open them, where I had to have tears next to my bed, and had to put them in the middle of the night so I could go to the bathroom and then come back without running into everything. The heart palpitations I've had for a long time. They weren't necessarily interrupting my life maybe 20 years ago, but I knew they were there. And to, fast forward to before I came to see Dr. Jody, it was to the point where I thought, I just figured I was dying or going to die. It's a scary feeling, and but I didn't know what to do. I have visited numerous doctors and therapists, and done many therapies over the past 15 plus years, all with very little to no success. Temporary relief, Band-Aids were getting old, and I just had no desire to continue. So I started to do some research. I've always done research, and I continue to do research. Never heard of functional neurology. Somehow, with my Google researching, I came upon it. I did some research locally in my state, and unfortunately, I was not confident in the functional neurologists who were in my state. Continued to do more research, and somehow, like I said, by the grace of God, I found Dr. Jody, and thought, well, now what? But in any case, bottom line is, I think deep down inside I knew something was wrong, deeply wrong, but I was not acknowledging it, because I didn't know where to take it. I didn't know. I've done so much explanations to medical professionals, and had them send me home saying that I'm just fine. My blood tests are fine. You look fine. Go home. And I just thought, well, that's what it is. This is just my life, and I have to just deal with it. After I was evaluated by Dr. Jody, I realized I had a dysautonomia, which I still have to research that word because I don't really quite understand, but I think things were just basically going haywire without me even understanding how bad they were. And between and he's found more things through the evaluations that I was not even clearly aware of. Maybe I knew little things like my left side was weak and my gait was a little off, but nothing that would have that I would have been able to put together to say you have dysautonomia. with only just a few days of treatment, nothing short of amazement, with my, first of all, the spinning out of control leads to constant irritability. And there's nothing that I could have done to stop that. It's like a runaway train. And now, even just after the first treatment, just the calmness that I have. I still have a to-do list in my head. I still have things I have to do, but I can do them like a normal person. I've forgotten what a normal person actually felt like. And it's very comforting to know that I have my life back. And I know and I realize that I have a lot of work ahead of me, and all I can say is that there's no price that you can put on health. So from being able to breathe deeply, not feeling tingliness at my extremities, just being able to take a breath and feel like my entire body is actually getting nourished from that oxygen, where as before I would struggle to take deep breaths, and I never got any relief from it. I would just feel like I knew what I was supposed to do, but it wasn't really affecting my body. My body was not able to handle and process any of that air and oxygen. So now I feel healthier. He's obviously taught me, well, I know how to sit properly, but I haven't been able to do that. And the interesting thing is that I went to myofascial therapy, and there was one time where the therapist was asking me questions, and I was curious to know why when I would exhale, it would be like forever. And I said, I just don't feel like inhaling. And that was just odd to me, but it was just how I felt. And now I can't do that. My body craves oxygen. And so when I exhale and I exhale too long, my body's telling me, inhale. And it feels good to get that oxygen back in. So I don't know. There's so many things wrong with me that I can't even remember at this point. But just the freedom and the fluidity and just being able to function, I think, is just, like I said, it's priceless. And I'm grateful to have that back so that I can take care of myself as well as my family. So I'm just so thankful. I'm just so thankful for these few days here. And very happy, just very happy about it all. Most people don't quite understand when the severity of what I've had. So when I say that my eyes were bloodshot and so dry that they were like sandpaper, most people shouldn't feel this way, but it was embarrassing. First of all, years ago, before I think even got married, my sister-in-law and other people would tell me, oh my gosh, your eyes are so bloodshot. So that was, first of all, that made me very self-conscious. So that I would put eye drops in, which are very bad to do. But they, as it progressed, it made it difficult to even function. It was so painful that to go anywhere or do anything, it's just a source of irritability, because another layer of being irritable, because I couldn't blink. It felt like my muscles were so tight behind my eyes. It made it difficult to see or open my eyes. And when one part of your body is in pain, and it's your eyes, which you require your eyes to do everything. It just made life miserable. That's just one word that I can sum it up with is miserable. All these years going to the doctor, putting up, I've been put on a Holter monitor. They've checked my blood pressure is good. For them, my heartbeat was fine, but it really wasn't. I knew that I had the misfiring. I think that's the arrhythmia, where it would beat, and then it's like the blood couldn't go anywhere, and it would kind of pause for a long time. but I got very fatigued when it did that. And it did that. So it started out with more of a fluttering. I would take cat naps when I had long work days, come home, I'd be able to cat nap, but I found that I would be rudely awakened by this fluttering. Now, it didn't bother me so much in my younger years because I was still functioning, but as I got older and the combination of fluttering and arrhythmia became more pronounced and more often, I was literally walking around with looking like this, and that was a signal to my husband that something was not right. But it was also a signal to myself that something was deeply wrong, and yet nobody was doing anything to help me. But I would try to stay calm, and I would try to deep breathe. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, eventually I think it went away, but for the duration that it would happen, it was quite alarming. And the problem was that it was happening more often, and it was happening to a greater extent, meaning that it was it wasn't just slightly, it was now very pronounced. So that was very scary. So both emotionally, mentally, and physically, I was being drained because I was scared. I didn't know how to control it, and I thought I could die any moment. So, I mean, what are you going to do with that?